Hey, what's going on everybody? This is G The Hypersapien, and in this video we're going to take a look at Warhammer Underworlds, Direchasm, the Starblood Stalkers. Now on the front you get the box art, looks really nice. So we flip it on the side, build your own warband. It's an easy to build kit, so it's push fit and you don't need glue. Still recommend using glue because sometimes when you push it together there's a bit of a gap in between it, especially if you use something like Tamiya Extra Thin. It really does seal that gap. Construct your deck, battle your rivals. Game expansion, a copy of Warhammer Underworlds core set is required to find us on Facebook at Warhammer Underworlds. Search Warhammer Underworlds. The Starblood Stalkers. The Starblood Stalkers seek to bring cosmic order to Direchasm. Upgrade Warhammer Underworlds with the Starblood Stalkers expansion, containing the Starblood Stalkers warband and 62 unique cards to enhance your fighters. This pack provides new tactics and challenges for Warhammer Underworlds Direchasm. Includes 6 easy to build Citadel miniatures, miniatures shown at actual size. Content: 6 fighters, 6 fighter cards, 32 Starblood Stalkers, and 30 universal upgrade ploy, spell and objective cards. The Starblood Stalkers at the bottom there in this nice dark greeny blue. But like always, let's bust this open and we'll have a look. Warhammer Underworlds, I love how they give you this little plastic black tray. It's really nice and it keeps your miniatures really nice in here. So we have our sprues, our cards, one separate card, and also on the back here you have your build guide. Like always, we'll look at our build guide first. Read this first. Before assembling your miniatures, please read through the instructions in this booklet carefully and retain them for future reference. Carefully remove the models from the frame, asking an adult for assistance, and push the models together as shown. Now they don't really touch on that you're going to need clippers, you're going to need a modelling knife, and my preference is to suggest some glue. Step 1, 22 and 21, so you're putting his face into this headpiece here with all these feathers. 19 and 20, you're putting this together. It looks like that you need to put the head in between though as you push it, and it's quite nice because these are the connection points, but these are possibly the parts that I'd suggest you to glue, so where it's yellow, put a bit of glue. And also another little tip, most of the time I cut these pegs off, at least maybe some of them or all of them, depending. It might sound complicated, but it just might stop you from putting the glue in place. Most of the time I remove these pegs and then just glue the two pieces together. But it's up to you if you want to do that or not. People that have done the hobby for a while will understand what I'm saying, but for beginners it might be a bit complicated, so maybe just push fit, but that's up to you. Now he's together and you just push him into the base here. Now I'd keep these pegs on because it helps fit it into the base. So there's normally holes in the base and these pegs go into the holes. Nice and ready for painting and to play your game. Step 2. It's quite simple. You've got piece 3 and 2 and 1, so it's quite a simple one here. So you're just pushing him into this neck piece, his arm will go there, and that's quite straightforward. And then obviously you stick him into piece 1, which is the base. He's complete. The third step, 12, 10 and 11, he's quite simple, just like the skink above. His shield arm into one side and then his weapon arm into the other, and then it looks like he's got his legs attached to these arm pieces as well. Push him into the base, which is 9, and then now we move on to our Chameleon Skink, which is step 4. So 15 and 14 are the 2 pieces you're going to need. So basically his legs are on one piece and then the rest of his body and limbs are on 14. Stick them together. And then 16 is a piece of rock. You've already got a bit on the previous step. Stick them together and now you've got this whole piece complete. You've got some scenic decoration, which is 17, and then the Chameleon Skink's done. Awesome looking skink here. So he's a little bit more complicated, but not really. 7, 8 and 6. 8 is his head, 6 is his body and arm and whatnot, and then 7 So you can just see that you put his head here, you put this piece which looks like a bit of his leg and body, comes up into these pegs, and then 5 and 4, so it looks like a piece of scenic decoration, and 6 is the base. Slide him in, Step 6, done. You've got your Saurus, 24, 26, 25, so you put in 26 here and 24, which is the main bulk of the body. You put in 26 up into here, and then once that's done you put in 25 to cover the rest of him. Also 27 is his arm with his weapon, you put that into place on this peg here. 28 you put his crown onto his head, and then 23 is the base, you slide him in and then the Saurus is done. Nice and simple. That's the Starblood Stalkers build guide. So you get 2 of the same card. Now I believe this is Italian or something like that, so they've obviously put the wrong language in the deck. Obviously they mass produced this and they've put the wrong one in all of the decks, so they've had to go and slide this one in after, just so you know why. So we'll put him to the side. You get the inspired version and then you get the normal version on all of these character cards. Sitaka, so he's the leader. He gets a Starstone staff and Starbolt. Nice bit of art on him. You get Septic, he's a skink hunter. Moonstone club is his weapon. You get Tok, the other skink, he's a skink hunter. Bolt splitter and Moonstone club. Huachi, skink hunter, meteoric javelin and hurled javelin. Otapatal, he's a skink hunter, quarry, so he's our chameleon skink. He gets his dart pipe. You get Clacktrock, which is our Saurus, Celestite Warmal and powerful jaws. So now we can find out about Starblood Stalkers here with this card, this information card. The Slan Starmasters of the Seraphon foresaw danger in Beastgrave. Unchallenged, the corrupting presence of chaos would transform the mountain into a colossal demigod whose power would wreak havoc across Gur and beyond. To prevent this from coming to pass, the Slan sent a hunting party of skinks into the mountain. Bolstered by the Saurus Old Blood, Clacktrock, their leader would be the gifted Skink Priest, Kixie Tucker, the Debonair, who bore an artifact that, if deployed in precisely the right location, would compel the entire mountain to consume itself in self-destructive madness. Achieving this aim would be no easy task, however. As the Starblood Stalkers advance, they would have to purge Beastgrave of the servants of the Dark Gods. In doing so, prove the innate primacy of order. Now I'm thinking of doing these a different colour scheme. So when I got into Lizardmen, the Skinks and the Saurus wasn't so bright. I'm thinking of doing them more like the plastic colour. So it's a darker greeny blue. So Stegodon Scale Green and Sotek Green. I was probably going to do them that. I'm going to grab my old army book for Lizardmen and have a look for a little bit of inspiration through that. But yeah, I just thought I'd let anyone know that's interested. Have a quick flip through these cards. I love this art. The Skink looks good, the Skink Priest, the Saurus, they look good. It looks like sort of almost like a spirit version of themselves there. Fighting Chaos, Slanesh. Got your Skinks there, got your Saurus. You got your Skinks and your Chameleon Skinks. Our good old mate Chameleon Skink is shooting some Slanesh. You get him summoning. You get our priest summoning the visions of the Slan, or speaking to him telepathically or whatever. This is really good art. I love the art on these cards, just top notch. And you get his device there, Huachi's Invisible Hunter. I've always loved Lizardmen. They was one of the first armies I ever collected in fantasy. So when I saw these, I just had to grab them. Now I do have a lot of Lizardmen and some Seraphon. Haven't got around to playing Age of Sigmar yet, so I haven't really bothered to build or work on my army. But if you like Seraphon or Lizardmen, I'm happy to work on more on the channel. As I said, they're one of my favourite armies, so I've always had a love for lizardmen. Or Seraphon as they're known as these days. They do need to bring out some new Saurus though. They need Saurus that look like this. Then I'll be happy. So we've looked at our character cards, now we'll take a look at these universal cards. It's got a lot of Slaanesh on these. A lot of chaos. Really good art as always. Really like the way Slaanesh look these days. They have this sort of Persian vibe to them, which is really good. I really want to play Underworlds. I've got a few warbands now, so hopefully I'll be able to get a game in sometime. Maybe even record a game would be nice to put on the channel. Might even buy some more warbands if I do start playing. I really like the look of the Slaanesh stuff. And the vampires as well are really good. That's an awesome image of that skink there. Let's see if I can make mine. Let's see if I can make my models anywhere as good as that. Then we have our skinks and our chameleon skink. Now that picture is amazing. That is some beautiful looking artwork right there. Now we've looked at all the cards, we'll take a look at the piece one here. This base looks really nice. It looks like it's got a bit of a pool there, like a pool of water or something, a few bubbles. Yeah, it's definitely some water. It looks like a frog is coming out here. Then you've got some leaves and whatnot around it, and obviously this rocky area. And then you've got some sort of little, and then you've got some little flower there. The skink, you can see he's got some nice scales. He's got some big scales and some smaller ones that go down into his tail and leg. We get this nice skink. He's got a really cool looking face, big bulging eyes, and then he's got this little frill on him. He's got some scales going into his back and this hooped jewellery on his tail. Looks really good. Looks really nice though. We'll go across to this base. So this base has that same sort of flower, has some skulls, got some grass, and then some obviously rocky areas and whatnot. Then we got this skink. Looks so good. He's got his mouth open, big bulging eye. Man, this is beautiful. He's got his crest up on this one. So these ones look a little bit more timid, or they're in action. He's angry and trying to make himself look a bit bigger. You know how animals puff their fur up, or lizards they have these frill parts that come out of their necks or whatnot. So he's basically doing that to look intimidating. I really like this whole war bands, even down to your more basic tropes like the skinks. Even they're so detailed, you know, really detailed them. You've got to love your chameleon skink, but I'd say this fella, this warrior, is my favourite out of the whole lot. I mean, his crest being up is really good. All those individual teeth, if you can see them, it has teeth and the tongue. You can even see the inside of his mouth here, that little bit just inside his cheek there. Looks so around good. While we're here, and we'll look at some of his body. Now I like this belt strap to him. I always love the symbolism of lizard men or Seraphon. They have this sort of Aztec, Mayan sort of symbols. It's obviously lizard based. It's obviously reptilian lizard based. Has that old school ancient feel to the art and their weapons and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, his leg is really detailed as well. Sort of this as well. The weapon looks really good. I mean, the weapons have always been quite similar, but these are even more detailed than anything I've seen in Seraphon really. So it has a bit of separation in the weapon, and then it has these spikes or these teeth that they put in there. It's got their symbols and whatnot engraved into this armband here, or this wristband. And then obviously you get the rest of him, scales and all that sort of good stuff. There you can see Now you can see the shields. The shield is really nice as well. I've always wondered though why lizard men have shields that have scales on them. I mean, what, they kill their own kind to put them into weapons? They have this factory where they just kill the weak and they turn them into weapons. We'll flip it out, we'll flip it around to look at this skink. He looks really nice. I like how his crest has this sort of almost jewellery on it. He really looks like he's using this dart pipe here. His cheeks are really, you know, full of air and just pushing that dart out. And then he's got a different shaped weapon. This is really nice. I don't think I've really ever seen this in the Seraphon range. He's got a few more darts strapped to his chest here. And then obviously you get the decorations and feathers and whatnot. Now you get this base. It looks like there's a snake coming out from under the rock. A bit of grassy areas and rocky areas. And obviously this nice big rock that he's going to be perched on. Now the Chameleon Skinks. Now Chameleon Skinks haven't had a new model for so long. It's just, yeah, this is just a gorgeous model. I love how his tail's curled up, just like chameleons have their tails curled up most of the time. He has different spikes on him, so he has different looking scales. So the other skink scales look a little bit more, we could say they're kind of like turtle shell, the shape and whatnot of them, but he has more lizard scales, I guess, or his scales are just totally different, if you can see that. And then he has spikes in his back like iguanas and whatnot have. And then he's got this nice crest part on top of his head. It's really nice. It's like an armor plate. He has different arms as well. Like, looks like he has less fingers, maybe some webbing in between his fingers as well. And then yeah, I've got to point out his eye. His eye is just really nice. That's just such nice detail sculpted into it. These almost hypnotizing looking qualities. You know when they put you under hypnosis and they make you look at this sort of circle that goes in on itself? It basically looks like that. And then obviously he's shooting his darts. Get this plant that's wrapping around, and then you get these leaves here, so this is some of the base decoration. Then you get this guy, my old mate, here. So he has these nice big, looks like either, I was going to say feathers, but they look like more like big leaves, you know. So he's got some leaves hanging off him. It would be to help them camouflage so they can sort of strike their enemy and be hidden. Now I really love this spear he has, that's really nice. And then his shield, both of the shields are nice. This one's really good though. I guess you can tell he's just more than your average skink. He has a different looking scales on his shield. And then just, yeah, it's really decorated, has these little bits hanging off it. Now we'll take a look at the second base. So this would be our priest. It looks like a little bit more of the chameleon here. And obviously the Saurus Old Blood, especially with the bigger size base that the Saurus would be on. So I guess we'll start with the priest, our leader for the Starblood Stalkers. So I really love his pose. He's quite majestic, but also he's quite upright. Like, he's quite upright and heroic as well. He knows he's the leader. He knows he has a purpose to destroy the mountain. He's quite confident in his pose. I really love his weapon here, his staff. That's just amazing. I love this symbol that the lizard men have had for quite some time, but this one is really crisp. It's a little bit different than some of the previous range, sort of shape and design, but yeah, to be honest, it looks a lot better than anything that I've ever seen. A lot of standard bearers and Saurus and whatnot have this sort of symbol. And then he has these leaves hanging around his skirt piece, just how I sort of mentioned how ancient humans and whatnot and tribal people would use what's around them, camouflage themselves when they hunt prey, but also to decorate themselves. You use what you can in your surroundings. I really love this neck piece around him. That looks awesome. And then his belt has that sort of snake symbol again. Yeah, he's really good. I love that. The Skink Priest is amazing. Now we'll take a look at a Skink Priest's face. So he's got a sort of screaming, angry face as well. At the end of his mouth here, he has this little piercing hanging off. That looks really good. Again, with this one, he's trying to show aggression and he's trying to intimidate, so his crest is up. I love this mask he has on. It gives him sort of almost a little beaky nose, kind of like a bird face. Back of the Skink Priest here, so he has his other weapon in his hand. He looks like he's summoning some magic power. He's filling up this ball or orb with some magic by the look of it. I love these pieces that are hanging off, and then he looks like he's got some leaves or feathers possibly in there as well. Tail looks really nice as well, the way it's posed. And then you've got his headpiece here, which is all these feathers. And then I'm guessing this must be the Skink Priest base. So it's kind of basic, but it fits in with everything else. All the other bases, you've got some leaves and some grass and a bit of muddy areas. Now we'll look at the rest of the Chameleon Skink. So he has this poisonous frog here that he's got all these darts in his mouth. So he shoved all these darts in this poisonous frog just to coat the tips of these darts. So when he shoots it at his prey, it will have some sort of poisonous effect that will either knock them out or possibly slowly kill them. And I love this huge branch that he's on, this bit of tree here, just so it gives him this pose that he's climbing and hunting his prey, but he's sort of stalking them. We'll look at the Saurus. The Saurus is looking tough as. Definitely makes me want to see a new Saurus kit. They need to upgrade that Saurus kit. So he has this rope wrapped around, and then he has these leg guards here. Now he's covered in scales compared to the Skinks. So you can see the scales are almost all over him. Even the more fleshy areas under his tail and everything, it's just scales everywhere. Hopefully the camera picks it up. His face is really good. Just like all Saurus, they have this nice big crest with these spikes on it. And you can see that it's sort of got both of his arms, so it will fit in between the two body pieces. Yeah, that's a really nice club. These fit into the rest of the Seraphon range, but as I say, these are really good sculpts, really impressive. I'm really happy that I've got these. But that was my video for Warhammer Underworlds Direchasm, the Starblood Stalkers review. I hope you enjoyed it. I really enjoyed looking at that kit. Please hit the like button, I'd really appreciate it. And if you haven't already, please subscribe, especially if you've came here because you've seen some Seraphon and some Lizard Men. Let me know in the comment section below if you want to see more of that on this channel. And yeah, if you're new, welcome to the channel. Please subscribe, please hit that notification bell, as I'll be doing more reviews and doing painting videos, and let me know what else you would like to see on the channel. But this is G The Hypersapien. As always, I appreciate you watching, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers.